Special counsel Robert Mueller is impaneling a grand jury as his investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election moves forward. The grand jury has reportedly issued subpoenas in connection with Donald Trump Jr.'s campaign meeting with a Russian lawyer. Individuals familiar with the special counsel's investigation say it includes Russian interference in the election, Russian hacking, and possible financial wrongdoing. Special counsel to the president, Ty Cobb, said the White House favors anything that accelerates the conclusion of the investigation. And another attorney for the president, Jay Sekulow, says the use of a grand jury should not come as a surprise.
It is really very much a standard operating procedure when you've got a situation like this. But with respect to the impaneling of the grand jury, we have no reason to believe that the president's under investigation here.
All right, let us bring in Matea Gold. She's a national political reporter for the Washington Post, and she joins me now from Washington. Thank you so much. You heard the president's attorney say that the use of a grand jury is standard operating procedure in a situation like this. But tell us exactly what this development really means for the administration.
Well, what this means is that Robert Mueller, the special counsel, is digging into this investigation, that it's not going to go away anytime soon, that the use of this grand jury shows that they are really casting a wide net, and they're using the subpoena power that they can get through a grand jury to bring in people for what appears to be a very rigorous investigation. And politically, I think this means that if the president was contemplating trying to either put more pressure on DOJ to try to fire Mr. Mueller, I think it is that much more difficult for him to do so in this environment.
It's funny you would bring that up. It certainly seems like the president's legal team is unified in terms of its response. They're all on the same page. But do you think there is concern within the White House, particularly taking into account some of the things the president has said publicly and the impression that he would not, that he has a red line? The red line is looking into his personal finances, and maybe, you know, Mueller would be a target if he moves in that direction.
Right. And we saw, as there were signs that this investigation was getting close, or has been getting close, to Mr. President Trump's finances, that appeared to really anger the president, and he made some pretty inflammatory statements about the attorney general. There's no question that when he opines on the legal process, that has got to cause an enormous amount of heartburn within the administration. One of the mandates of the new counsel, Ty Cobb, who's come into the administration to deal with this probe, as well as the new chief of staff, John Kelly, is to try to keep the president focused on the issues the administration is trying to put forward on its agenda, not comment on the legal process.
So we've learned now that there are two bipartisan bills that were introduced in the Senate yesterday, both of them meant to protect Robert Mueller from being fired by the president. First question, is there enough support in Congress to get a bill like this passed? And what message would it send if they do get something like this through?
Well, it would be a remarkable rebuke for a Republican-controlled Congress to pass legislation like this. The sponsors of the measures say they believe they have enough support to get it through. Obviously, that doesn't mean that the president would ever sign a bill like this. But particularly in the Senate, there could be an appetite to pass such legislation if the president continued to push forward the idea or hint that he was trying to pressure Attorney General Sessions, or perhaps was interested in taking action to push Robert Mueller out. And I think it's very telling that in the wake of the healthcare debacle, you know, senators are angrier than ever with this White House that seems to be putting all the blame on them for that legislation. So I think there's no love lost right now between those two branches of our administration.
Indeed. Let's switch over to talk a little bit about the release of those transcripts of the president's conversations with the Prime Minister of Australia and the President of Mexico. The chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Bob Corker, spoke about these types of leaks yesterday. Let's listen to what he had to say, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
I have encouraged the president, and now I'll encourage that through General Kelly, to fire every single person that's had anything whatsoever to do with backbiting, undermining other people for their own benefit, or leaking, and not to be cautious about it. If there's even a thought that somebody was involved, get rid of them. These people should be fired. They should be out of government. They're disloyal to our government, and I hope that that's what's going to happen.
So certainly the transcripts revealed a lot about the president and his negotiating skills and how he operates. But can we talk about the national security concerns surrounding a leak like this? It's something that the White House brings up over and over again. Whenever the focus is on the content of the leaks, the White House talks about the leak in and of itself. And these transcripts were not declassified, were they?
No. And obviously, I think the reason this is hitting such a nerve is because there's not just been leaks about these conversations, but just an enormous series of leaks coming out of this White House, really an unprecedented gusher of leaks, something that's angered this president to no end. I'm sure this is going to just add fuel to the pressure on Sessions to crack down on leaks. That's something he's scheduled to talk about today. I think it was also very interesting. We saw former Obama administration officials opining that they were really troubled by these leaks. I think there is a sense that when it comes to conversations with foreign officials, there needs to be space for the president to have those kinds of discussions in private. And if foreign leaders feel that those conversations could be compromised, there could be fears about having a candid back and forth with the president. But it's very telling that obviously people within this administration felt that these transcripts were so inflammatory that the American public needed to have a window into this president's operating style. And it's something that the Post published because we feel like it's a very revelatory episode that shows you how the president conducts business and what he says when he's not on camera.
Yeah, it's something that you hear over and over again, that leaks, they happen in every administration. But in this administration, not just the volume, but also how close the leaks are to the president himself is what's particularly stunning.
Right, and there's been a whole series of, so-called palace intrigue leaks about sort of the inside political machinations at the White House. But what Sessions says he's really going to focus on are national security leaks, any kind of compromising information from our intelligence agencies that gets released to the public. So I think that's really going to be the focus. We will see whether leaks like this also come under scrutiny.
Matea Gold of the Washington Post. Thank you so much, Matea.
Thanks so much.